Okay, so
Nonku Ndlovu has been producing for more than 8 years now. In 2012, she became the first South African woman to produce in and fund her own film about domestic violence. Her current film is called Stick Up, and it's about a young guy who aspires to do better with his life until one day he's faced with a situation where he has to rise to the occasion or play it safe. For more on this film, we are joined by creator and producer of the movie, Nonku Ndlovu. Nonku, good morning, welcome.
Good morning, welcome.
You know, because you're also used to being in front of the camera. Yes. How is producing fundamentally different to kind of being the creator and all of that stuff?
Great question. I reached a time in my life when, after going for many auditions, I thought, I actually want to be in the deciding seat of what I get or what I'm in, or actually part of the creative process. I mean, a lot of black women would attest to the fact that sometimes you get a script and you're not in agreement with the values of the script or the character that you're playing. So it's very important for us to be in the driving seat, in the producing seat, in the creative, in the writing seats. So yeah. Do you think,
and maybe that's an interesting that you've mentioned, I know from a black woman perspective it's very difficult, but I think from a woman perspective it's still very difficult, especially in this industry, to make headway.
Well, I would agree with you, but I think also going a bit further, white women have been in powerful roles in film. I've seen a lot of them in action. I've seen a lot of them. I mean, if you look at Basic...
And black women get marginalized.
Yes, exactly. If you look at Basic Instinct, Sharon Stone was in a very powerful role. I mean, that was a very, you could look at that and say, that's power right there. But you're right. Women do also get marginalized as a whole. I mean, there is chauvinism a lot in movies.
Yeah. This creative element that you're talking about and taking control, I can only imagine it can't be easy when you decide that I now want to produce, that I now want to be empowered enough to choose what I want to work on, especially in an industry where I don't even know if this industry really understands itself or the power of the actor, because we've seen it in Hollywood. The producer and the actor are incredibly powerful and they play a very critical role in films, but here it seems slanted the other way.
Well, I would say the transition wasn't that difficult for me. For me, it was difficult to stay in a position where I'm just taking direction and I'm not behind the seat. I'm also second generation filmmaker, as my father he's a filmmaker. I mean, he does Mobango, he did Ozalo. So I think that made it easier. I also grew up in a time where I was around the arts a lot. I was around Sarafina, I was around plays. So I think
so you've got this wealth to tap into.
I do. I'm second generation, so I had that wealth to tap into. But you are right, there is, I mean, funny enough, last week I was on a radio show and they were talking about sleeping your way to the top. So there is generally also that, you know, couch casting, as they call it. So I do think that females do encounter a lot of hardships. Also, just to be taken seriously, sometimes you have to pull rank because people don't take it seriously, or men are just so power hungry that you're just another girl on set. You're not a woman, you're just another girl.
Let's talk about Stick It Up, because it looks like fun. I mean, how much fun was it? Because it's made for TV. It's not made for
for theatrical release. The film is called Stick Up. My son is in the lead, actually, which was a funny story. I must just say, our win...
Stick Up, not Stick It Up.
No, Stick Up. Yes. So it's basically Stick Up or Shut Up. It's about a stick-up that happens at a petrol station. And the main character works at the petrol station and he's in a dead-end life. So he has a choice whether to rise up and be a hero or stay in a dead-end life. So basically what I would say about that is the most unity I've ever seen on production. The most just harmony with my executive producer Ari, with the writer and director Brad. It was a good script to start with, because to have an award-winning film, the script has to be good. So that I have to give kudos to Bradley Katzen for that. We used a lot of my students. I have a TV and film and entrepreneurship academy called Eagles Academy, and we actually used 90 to 95% of the students on the film.
And where's it based?
where's the...
Eagles Academy is in
It's based in town. Yes, it's based in town. So the big win for me was using the students.
That's
the
brilliant.
fact that as you rise, you can raise others up. That for me was the big win.
I must also say that the connection between your father, now yourself, and your son, that there's this beautiful line of creatives.
Correct. And a woman in there.
When will people be able to see Stick Up? Where will it feature?
Well, we're in talks right now with the GFC to do some, let's say, lectures of an award-winning film. But because it was produced for TV, there are broadcasting rights that we have to observe. So we can't actually show it for commercial purposes. But we will be taking it around to film festivals and showing it internationally in that way. So I think the contract is that as long as you don't do it for commercial value, then you can show it.
Nonku Ndlovu, her film is called Stick Up. I think you're going to have to Google the details to find out where you can watch it and when it will make its rounds. It's Eagles Academy. You can log in to find out more details and get hold of Nonku there. And yeah, let's put pressure on her to release it so we can watch it. Let's take an break. Don't get anywhere.
After a horrific accident, major questions were asked.
So step one, I asked myself, do I really want to die? And my answer to that was, I'm not sure. And then step two was, do I want my parents to bury me? And the answer to that was no.
Learning kept his brain in full action on how the brain works.
When I was in hospital, right, as I was saying, to catch up with my peers, I started to become obsessed with memory techniques and how the brain works and how we retain information.
Touching lives is his continuous mission.
I now work for a non-profit where we deal with access issues regarding kids with disabilities and persons with disability. We're busy working on beach access.
Being wheelchair-bound did not stop fun in his life.
I party in a wheelchair, I laugh in a wheelchair, I smile in a wheelchair.
For all your uplifting stories, catch Bupilong every Friday.
Typhoid outbreak that broke out in Zimbabwe's capital late last year has claimed the life of a 13-year-old girl in Harare's township of Mbare.
Most residents have put the blame on the Zimbabwean government for the debilitating economic situation.
There is no interest in the affairs of the city and the town, and really we have to do something about it.
One expert believes the Barclays Absa apartheid funding saga reeks of political factionalism. Yanni Rousseau says things are not as they seem.
And the money, well, that was whisked out of the country.
Absa paid full value for the assistance. So from that perspective, I cannot see how it can be made out that Absa benefited.